France, a nation of revolution, turmoil, and rebirth that shaped the modern world. Among its countless leaders, one name towers above the rest: Napoleon Bonaparte. A man of unmatched ambition, military genius, and political cunning, Napoleon rose from humble beginnings to command armies, crown himself emperor, and redefine the destiny of Europe. But his story is not one of victory alone. It is a tale of triumph and tragedy, power and exile, glory and downfall. How did a man who seemed invincible fall so far? This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, France's greatest general, most daring reformer, and most controversial leader. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769, on the rugged island of Corsica, just 1 year after it was annexed by France. The second son in a family of minor nobility, Napoleon grew up in modest circumstances. His father, Carlo, was an ambitious lawyer who sought to align the family with French authority, while his mother, Letizia, instilled discipline and resilience in her children. From an early age, Napoleon exhibited a fierce intellect and an intense drive to rise above his provincial upbringing. At 9 years old, Napoleon left Corsica for mainland France to attend a prestigious military school in Brienne. Life at Brienne was harsh. Napoleon faced scorn from his peers for his Corsican accent and diminutive stature. But these struggles only strengthened his resolve. He buried himself in his studies, excelling in mathematics, history, and military strategy. At 15, he was admitted to the École Militaire in Paris, where he completed his officer training in just 1 year. In 1785, at the age of 16, he joined the French army as a second lieutenant in the artillery. Napoleon's early career coincided with one of the most turbulent periods in French history, the French Revolution. By 1789, the monarchy had fallen, and France was in chaos. For a young, ambitious officer like Napoleon, the revolution offered both opportunity and danger. His chance to prove himself came in 1793 during the siege of Toulon, a key port city held by royalist forces supported by the British. Displaying remarkable tactical skill, Napoleon devised a plan to recapture the city by targeting the enemy's naval positions. The operation was a resounding success, and Napoleon was promoted to brigadier general at just 24 years old. This victory marked the beginning of Napoleon's meteoric rise. Over the next few years, he gained a reputation as a brilliant strategist and a fearless leader. In 1796, he was given command of the French Army of Italy, a ragtag force plagued by poor morale and lack of resources. Napoleon transformed this struggling army into an efficient fighting machine. Over the course of a year, he led his troops to a string of stunning victories against the Austrian Empire, forcing them to sue for peace. These campaigns not only secured France's dominance in northern Italy, but also made Napoleon a household name. Napoleon's ambition, however, was not confined to the battlefield. He understood the power of propaganda and carefully crafted his image as a hero of the revolution. His dispatches from the front lines emphasized his victories while downplaying his defeats. Back in France, the people saw him as a savior, a man who could bring order to a nation still reeling from the revolution's upheaval. In 1798, Napoleon embarked on a bold and unconventional campaign in Egypt. His goal was to disrupt Britain's trade routes to India and establish French dominance in the region. Though his military success in Egypt was mixed, his fleet was destroyed by the British at the Battle of the Nile. Napoleon's expedition had far-reaching consequences. It introduced Western scholars to the wonders of ancient Egypt, including the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, which would later unlock the secrets of Egyptian hieroglyphs. Despite setbacks, Napoleon returned to France as a hero, his failures obscured by his talent for self-promotion. By 1799, the French government, the Directory, was struggling to maintain control. Corruption and inefficiency had eroded public trust, and the nation was on the brink of collapse. Napoleon, sensing an opportunity, staged a coup d'état. On November 9, 1799, He overthrew the Directory and established the consulate, with himself as first consul. At just 30 years old, Napoleon held the reins of power in France. As ruler, Napoleon embarked on a series of sweeping reforms that transformed France. He centralized the government, created an efficient tax system, and founded institutions like the Bank of France. Perhaps his most enduring achievement was the Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive legal framework that enshrined principles of equality before the law, property rights, and secular governance. Though it restricted certain freedoms, such as women's rights, the Napoleonic Code became the foundation for legal systems across the world. In 1804, Napoleon took his ambitions to new heights. In a grand ceremony at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, he crowned himself Emperor of the French, signaling that his authority came not from the church or the people, but from his own merit. This act solidified his power, but also drew criticism from those who saw it as a betrayal of the revolution's ideals. Napoleon's reign as emperor was defined by war. Over the next decade, he waged a series of conflicts known as the Napoleonic Wars, reshaping the map of Europe. His military genius was unparalleled. At the Battle of Austerlitz in 1805, he delivered a crushing defeat to the combined forces of Austria and Russia, cementing his reputation as one of history's greatest commanders. By 1810, Napoleon controlled much of Europe, either directly or through alliances. He established the Continental System, a trade blockade aimed at weakening Britain's economy. However, this policy also strained relations with his allies and disrupted European commerce. Despite his many victories, Napoleon's ambition often led him into dangerous territory. His most disastrous campaign began in 1812 with the invasion of Russia. Initially confident of a swift victory, Napoleon underestimated the harsh Russian winter and the scorched earth tactics employed by his enemy. The campaign ended in catastrophe, with fewer than 100,000 of his 600,000 soldiers returning home. The invasion shattered his army and his aura of invincibility. Sensing an opportunity, a coalition of European powers, including Britain, Austria, Prussia, and Russia, united against Napoleon. In 1814, after a series of defeats, Napoleon was forced to abdicate. He was exiled to the island of Elba, off the coast of Italy, but Napoleon was not ready to give up. In 1815, he escaped Elba and returned to France, rallying the nation to his side in a period known as the 100 Days. Once again, he was at the center of Europe's attention. Napoleon's dramatic comeback ended at the Battle of Waterloo on June 18, 1815. Facing the combined forces of Britain and Prussia, he fought valiantly, but was ultimately defeated. This time, there was no escape. Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, where he spent the final years of his life. Isolated and in declining health, he wrote memoirs reflecting on his rise and fall. On May 5, 1821, Napoleon Bonaparte died at the age of 51. The cause of his death remains a topic of debate, with theories ranging from stomach cancer to arsenic poisoning. Though his life ended in exile, his legacy endures. Napoleon was a man of contradictions, a revolutionary who crowned himself emperor, a military genius who overreached, a reformer who valued order above liberty. His Napoleonic Code influenced legal systems worldwide, and his vision of a unified Europe foreshadowed modern European integration. Napoleon's name became synonymous with power and ambition. He inspired leaders like Simon Bolivar and Otto von Bismarck, while his downfall served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hubris. Even today, his life continues to captivate historians, politicians, and the public alike. And so ends the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, a soldier, a statesman, an emperor, and a man who dared to defy the odds and paid the ultimate price.